Hi, Diva.
Hi.
Um, uh, so today, we're welcoming Diva Kaya, who we actually met in a really awesome way. We met. Do you want to tell the story?
Better at this. Go for it.
We met at ceremony meditation in Venice when we were both buying the same rose water, my
Mhm.
favorite rose water, and it was like And I was also asking them at the time, I was thinking I was going to do meditations at like some sort of meditation studio. So I was just asking them about that, and Diva overheard, and that's how we started talking. And that was probably what, at least a year ago, maybe two.
Yeah, I think like at least a year and a half ago, for sure. I just remember
Sweet.
you having these like really cool pants on, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I got them from Japan." I'm like, of course. They were so sick. I still remember those. Yeah.
Thank you. That's a good. I haven't worn those in a while. Thank you for reminding me about those pants. Oh my gosh. So today we're going to talk about our experience. We just finished last Monday our 6 week sweat play twerk course to activate your inner bad bitch, and Diva was a part of that. So we're going to share a little bit about your experience, Diva. So do you want to start with just sharing about who you are and what work you do in the world, and just tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah. So I usually describe myself as like multifaceted in all ways. So like multinational, multilingual, multicultural. So I moved to the States about 3 years ago from Canada by way of Turkey and Iran. And I work right now as a research scientist at Amazon, before that at Google and some other places. And I work on trying to understand like the human experience when it comes to any of this tech. And then through that, we develop studies and we develop like research protocols and strategies to basically try to make that human dynamic with any kind of system a little bit more human, feels a little bit better, a little more flow.
Mm. That's dope. I learned a lot about you in those 2 minutes. So thanks for yeah, I'm like, wow, I didn't know any of that. Thank you so much for sharing just sharing that more about you. That's dope. So when you think back to like kind of when you signed up for the course and when it all began, um, what were you hoping to achieve, or what were you hoping that joining the course, what problem were you hoping it would solve?
Mm, I mean, so for me, it was more just like getting connected to my feminine side. You know, like I worked in STEM for a long time and in tech for a long time in like male dominated areas. And when you work so often in those places, you kind of get disconnected from your feminine. And I think embodiment and just really like feeling ownership over your physical self really brings that back. And that's kind of what I was seeking. So, with all of the movement with COVID, and I was displaced for a while, just being able to like ground into my body was what I was looking for.
Mm, so important with so many changing factors.
Mm,
I feel you there.
yeah.
Um, and what were you thinking that the impact would have for you personally on having that opportunity to connect in?
Um, like I think just as a woman, we constantly have these cycles that we go through. And each time you go through a cycle, you learn more about yourself and about the environment that you're in and what you need or what you want. And so I was hoping to kind of like get tapped into that cycle much more. Yeah.
Mm,
And I feel like
awesome.
it did. Yeah.
Thank you. It's so true. We're ever changing beings.
Amen.
Yeah, yeah, it's like every day is a new day. Um, so what three parts um of the system that was, what three parts of this course do you feel like made the biggest impact?
Mm, distilling it down to three, it's almost like hard because it just feels like it felt honestly like a space that you were able to walk into and a container for just feeling held, you know? So I think in that kind of definition, what it overall felt like, I think the community was a really big thing. just having the other woman there and hearing their experiences and just like, how was your day? Or like, what did you experience? You know, having that shared consciousness for a moment was really nice. And then another thing is you were really flexible in like giving us alternatives. So like during this time I hurt my knee and I couldn't really like move around and I felt like kind of I couldn't do anything and like totally awkward, and you're just like, okay, try this, try that, try that. And like again, it felt nice having that like container, like no matter how you were able to walk into it. So I think that's another one. And then the third is just like there's this element of like fun and silliness. And the work that I do right now is really serious. Like I work on
Mm.
harassment and developing harassment policies, which is like heavy, especially during this time. So being able to like come into a space of just like, yeah, like let's do it, take it. It doesn't matter. Like it felt good. So and
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I felt that too. It was definitely like a safe haven in the middle of so much happening in the world. Um, yeah, so I heard you say community was a big one, and then having that safe space to come as you are, um, as well. And the third thing you just said
Yeah,
immediately,
it was like the flexibility of being able to come as you are, the community, and just like the silliness and just the fun and that.
play,
Yeah, exactly.
the play in the sweat play twerk.
Feel it. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
then I know you said three, but like the fourth is 100% the music. Like I
Mm.
love the playlists that you put together. Those are always just like spicy and fun. Yeah.
Yes, I'm such a music scavenger, so I love sharing music, and I'm glad I'm glad it resonated with you.
See.
Yes. Um, so yeah, so what part of, if we could dig a little deeper into the three things that you shared, what part of each sticks out for you? Like, do you have
The moment.
specific, yeah, like what specific things or
Yeah, I mean, so I remember for the music, okay, so like you set up the stage where we listen to the music that you bring, and there's always this cultural element to it, you know, that's kind of, I guess you can call the spice. And like being someone from a cultural background that isn't American, that was really nice. It felt homey almost.
mm,
But then there was also this class, I think it was like our last class, where we were allowed to choose the music. And that was fun because like we all kind of saw each other's flavors, right? So being able to speak to each other in music was a really fun element that I liked. Even though I picked that song
mm.
like last moment, but still good.
Yeah, it's whatever came through in that moment, you know?
This is
Exactly.
yeah. So that was like the music part that I really liked, and the flexibility. I was saying like, you know, that one time I hurt my knee and like I couldn't really move. Like you just, you know, creating like visibility into that, and like it's like it's all right. There's so many ways that you can participate. It was really good. And then the community element, obviously, like oh, I mean, you remember, like there were days that I came in, I was like crying. Like I just had, you know, like a crazy day, and and just feeling like held by women. It was so like just, you know, a lot. Like it's just everything right now.
Mm, yeah. Thank you for letting us support you and for supporting us and, co-creating that space of that feeling of sacredness and safety.
Definitely a lot of that in your
Mm,
for sure.
thank you. Um,
You.
what what results do you feel like you've achieved, and how do you feel like that's impacted you since we kind of closed out?
Results. So I think okay, this is gonna sound like ridiculous, but also not because literally it was like a twerk class. But
Yeah.
okay, so I've been learning that like, you know, there's different muscles over here for twerk.
Yeah,
Like, getting connected to those, so I'll find myself like, I don't know, just doing whatever and just activating them a little bit, which is nice. So again, like being
totally.
embodied, like fully embodied in all of you. I think for like women, like we're taught so much about, you know, staying almost like chaste, you know, and so like a chaste woman
Mm.
this or that, like whatever, like it's your body, do whatever you want, you know? And so this was kind of like giving that opening, which was really nice.
Mm.
Um, what was the question again?
Yeah, no, that was great. I mean,
Yeah.
activating those muscles, because yeah, we just spend so much time cutting off from this area of ourselves and like sitting in chairs. So I love hearing that you're still exploring those muscles and activating them and playing around with them. Yeah, the question was really just what results do you feel like you've had as a result of the course and how it's impacted you since.
Yeah, I think like again going back to that embodiment, like when you feel embodied, you allow yourself to take up more space because there's a body that needs space. And so part of taking up space is being able to kind of channel voice. And so I think that's something for me, like being reconnected into my body, being reconnected into the space that it takes, and being reconnected to my voice. So I think that's like a big thing, and I can see it coming out in like small places, which is
Mm.
because of course it's like a snowball. So yeah,
Totally. And the pelvic floor and the throat are so related.
yeah,
You know, when one is locked, the other
yeah,
is also a lot like there's a co-creative experience that we create with these two spaces. So yes, yes to finding our voice, especially, I mean, all times, but especially right now, like
yeah,
that opportunity to come home,
mm,
whew, to
yeah.
the body and voice and self.
I know.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm.
Um, okay, can you finish this sentence? I almost didn't join because
Let's see. Almost didn't join because of like technical issues. not
mm,
not yours, but on mine. And just like, oh God, you know, like, do I have a place to dance? Like, do I have a place to set up? Is the internet connection like stable and stuff like that? But honestly, we all had like we were all in the same boat, so it felt just like even if something happened, it was okay and it was like fluid. It was just like, all right, like you do your thing, and like I'm gonna continue doing, you know what I mean? So I
right.
think that was one thing. And then also like the community element. I think okay, honestly, like being newer to America and like understanding more of the cultural connections and stuff, like I feel like women interact with each other differently here.
Mm,
And I was a little bit like worried about that. And in person, it can be very different. And online, it's like there's this extra layer of like distance. So then it can
mm,
be even more different. But I think everyone felt that way and everyone was coming here to just like, you know, be embodied in themselves. And so when you're really in yourself, then you connect to another person more authentically. And then that's kind of what felt. But I think those were like the two like things that were,
oh,
yeah.
yeah. Thank you for voicing that.
Yeah.
It's definitely always intimidating coming into a new group of women and then adding that extra layer of
Yeah.
a new country you're living in, and then the extra layer of technology when every other class I'm just like, oh shit, you know. And then part of the class is in Mercury in retrograde, so it's just like
Oh my God.
we're
Yeah.
just gonna just gonna bear with this.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another sentence for you to finish. My favorite part of working with you or working with this program is or was.
Hmm. Um, just like kind of feeling like silly and goofy together, you know?
Mm,
Just like laughing at like, it's not working. And then like all of us are laughing, you know what I mean? Or
uh-huh.
like, I don't know, sending like a message to everyone and want to send one, but it's like, whatever, you know? I think
Mm-hmm.
that like goofiness, not silliness, and
Mm.
the lightness that comes from it.
Yeah, there were total moments where it just kind of felt like a sleepover, like a virtual sleepover.
Yes, exactly. That's the best way to describe it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like we're all in our house, we're all coming from different places, we're like, okay, let's dance. Which is, yeah, it's like a light, fun thing that you don't usually, I feel like there's a lot of seriousness here when you're like going out dancing, like a very serious thing, and people like, you know, drink their drinks, but we got to just kind of cut through a lot of that. But, you know, one, by having to be in our houses, and two, by just the energy that we created together of just like anything goes.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
pajamas too. Definitely showed up in my pajamas a few times. It was
Yes.
great.
Yes. I love that. Oh gosh. Okay. So who would you recommend this to and why?
Everyone, are you kidding?
Mm,
Yeah, like I think of all ages, I would even want to see like older women taking this class because there's like an interesting thing like they've had more conditioning, I suppose, just because of time,
mm,
but also they've had more time with themselves. So coming at this like what they would take away and what their perspectives would be and what they would bring in would be really different and interesting, I think.
mm,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, thank you for presencing that. And so this is the last. Oh no, actually, that's all of the questions that I have. Is there anything else that you feel called to share? Or
I mean, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Like, thank you for creating this container and this space, especially during this time. Like, it's not easy to get to a space where you can even hold a container for another person. So,
mm,
just acknowledging that and how well it was done and how included, I felt and we all felt. Um, I'm so glad that this is happening. I'm so glad that this is a space. I'm so glad that this is a conversation that's happening more. And I hope that it continues. So.
mm. Thank you so much. I'm just gonna receive that and let it wash over me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much for joining, and it's just been such a pleasure to get to know you over this last year and a half or whatever it's been, and even more to like dive deeper in this 6 weeks together because we were meeting 3 times a week, so it was like
Yeah.
lots of diva time, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing what's on your mind and heart. And if you're watching this on the Facebook or if you're watching a replay, if you want to know more about working with me or what's next, then please don't hesitate to DM me or comment below, and I will share what is coming up.
Woo.
So thank you so much. So love you, Diva. I appreciate you for coming on here with me. Mwah!
Love. Sending love. Bye.
Yes. Bye bye.